everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. I'm your host, Cassidy Lynne, and welcome back to another episode. Today is one of those days where, I don't know, I'm feeling so, lazy. I'm so just feeling lethargic. I'm just not wanting to do anything. Honestly, this whole week, I don't know if anyone else can relate. There's just not all that much on my to-do list. And sometimes when this happens, I start by using my paper planner and I write out all the things I want to get done for the week and I schedule it all out. And then I end up being oh, I only scheduled things until Wednesday. I actually don't have that much to do. I'm not going to be working all week. And that's always weird because then I start to get lazy where I'm oh, I have free time. Oh, I have this scheduled for Monday, but I can push it until Tuesday because remember, I didn't have my full week scheduled out. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling today. I hope everyone's having a great Monday. This is going to be a chill episode. We're just going to chat. Probably won't be too long, to be honest. I'm not feeling super chatty today. Plus I gave you guys a 2-parter last week. And I hope you guys liked last week's episode. That was wild. I literally am still in shock over some of those stories. So wow, it's crazy. Okay, let's get into some life updates, just random things, I guess. First, I'll start non-business and then we'll do some business related stuff. First, I am in my home reno era. We decided to get a new chandelier for our dining room, which I don't know if I've shown our dining room all that much. I think I show it sometimes on Instagram, but we had this chandelier that kind of looked like deer antlers a little bit. They definitely weren't deer antlers. If they were, I would have gotten rid of that so quickly, but it just kind of gave deer antler, but it wasn't technically a deer antler. So we got a new chandelier, which we've been holding off on this specific item because me and Charlie have been at a standstill as far as our opinions go and what we really like. And so it was hard because I liked one thing, he liked another thing, and they weren't even close to something we could find a middle ground on. So we ended up deciding on one finally, months later. So, yeah, chandelier, we're going to install that today. Very exciting. Also, I just installed a plant wall in my office. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. I have this awkward wall next to my desk. There's a little, we have radiant heat in our house. So houses, I can't speak, not houses. We have radiant heat in our house. And it's right above the little heater thing. It's just this blank wall. So I thought it would be cute to do a plant grid. So it's this wire grid. It's black. And then I got wall mounted planters. And I just hook them in with these little S hooks and put real plants in every single planter. I tried to get plants that I knew were going to be hardy and not die. I have a couple mystery ball, question box plants in there, just a little bit of element of surprise where I'm I don't know if you're going to live, but I don't know if you're going to die because I've never had some of these plants. So yeah, we shall see. Right now it's really made my space just feel more complete, which is so exciting. I love an office upgrade. It is everything to me. So yeah, I did that. And also me and Charlie, this is exciting. We just secured, it's not official yet, but we are getting our second rental property, which is very, very exciting. If any of you listen to Go Off Sis, which is my sister's podcast, you would know that my younger sister Lexi lives in our old house. So our first house that we got, we basically flipped the whole thing, lived in it for 2 years, and then now my sister rents it from us, and now we just got another rental property. It's going to be a duplex, which is very exciting, but it is the ugliest thing you've ever seen. Yeah, so ugly. There's mirrors everywhere, which is weird. There's 5 different floors. There's dark wood, there's a light wood, there's fake wood, there's tile, there's ugly tile, there's linoleum. So yeah, it just needs a lot of work. There's textured walls, just the biggest nightmare ever, but I'm really excited. Charlie is so good at like doing home things like that. And I think it's going to become a really big part of his year this year. So I'm really excited for that. So yeah, we're just, trying to be good adults with our money, which is so weird. I'm literally 26 years old. So I'm like, we're trying to just make good decisions with the money that we have. I don't know. I feel like this for us is like kind of like a long-term investment is what we're trying to do. We're trying to like get real estate and stuff just to, cause it's like super secure and whatever. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, very exciting. What else do I have to say? If you're watching on YouTube, am wearing new merch, and I'm not going to show you guys the full thing, but it is so cute, and I cannot help but if I have new merch and it's good, I cannot help but wear it. And this is one of those items where I simply cannot get enough. I took it out of the packaging, like the sample, and I was like, I'm wearing this right away. And I've worn it 3 times since then. I haven't even taken photos in it yet, which makes me nervous because it's like, I'm afraid I'm going to stain it. Because it's like a bone white, I would say. But the sweatpants are so amazing. They're open bottom. So they're like wide leg. They're so good. So high quality. I'm obsessed. I'm not going to show you guys the back of my sweatshirt because the back is the cutest part and I want to leave an element of surprise. So there's that. What else do I have to say? Oh, last thing. And then we'll get into what we're talking about today. Let's do a little content segment, shall we? I know I've been doing a social media segment for a while, and maybe I'll still do that after this, but I want to talk to you guys about some content I'm consuming right now because I've been loving the content grind. This really is the time of year where I just like cannot get enough of TV shows, books, everything. So let me just enlighten you guys real quick. Number 1, let's do books. I just finished reading American Dirt. So good. It is about a mom and a son who are basically like fleeing from the Mexican cartel. So good. I could not put that book down. It's so good. The book I'm reading right now, it's called The Wedding People. This one has great reviews. I've heard lots of people talk about it. I'm literally 2% into it, so I have no idea how it's going to be. I don't think I've read many other books besides that. I have, but I can't remember them. Things I'm consuming on TV right now. Number 1, The Bachelor. That's pretty common, standard, basic of me. I'm also watching Traitors for the first time. Traitors season 3. I don't have other words other than I am simply obsessed. When I finish the season, I'm going through it and I'm watching season 1 and season 2 because this is exactly the type of game show that I love. Like seriously, it is so good. And now I'm like, how do I get on another reality show so then I can get on this reality show because it's so fun. I literally want to do like a version of this like with my friends or something like that. I think that might be the solution. So yeah, those are kind of the 2 main things I'm watching right now. I did finish like some other random TV series stuff, but nothing really too notable. I'm also like rewatching New Girl right now, but what else is new? Yeah. And the only other work thing, since we're just blabbing right now, since I'm just literally have no script, I today started planning some more stuff for Italy. My workshop, it's going to be in Italy in July, if you don't know. And a little update on that. I did sell out all my tickets. Every single spot is full. So blessed. Thank you guys so much. I know a lot of the people who bought tickets were listeners. So thank you guys. You're the best. I am currently working on planning. So here's the thing about me. I didn't necessarily have every detail planned out when I launched because I didn't know what budget I was going to work with. And I also, had like one or two mystery shoots that I had a couple of ideas with, but I didn't have the concepts nailed down because I was kind of waiting to hear based on my applications, like some of the feedback I got. Because one of the questions I asked on my application for my workshop was like, what's your dream photo shoot? And based on a lot of those answers, I was able to nail down a couple of concepts that I think fit my attendees and what they really want to see. So because of that, I didn't have everything booked right away. So I've been working on that. Like I got florist, I got hair and makeup, I got some like a dress vendor. I have like even like our rental cars, like stuff like that. We're going a couple days early and we're hanging out in Venice. So like booking that and trying to figure out what we're going to do there. Booking our literal plane tickets. So yeah, crazy stuff. But it's been so fun. Like, I think I'm trucking through my to-do list so much that it's like, I barely have anything left to do, which is amazing. And also if anyone's planning an event like this, use a spreadsheet, please. Like use Google Sheets, because I was doing all like everything on my notes app, and I was just creating a new note for like whatever, like for the budget, I'd create a new note. And then for the attendees, I had another note. And then I was like, bro, this is so confusing. I can't even keep track of everything. So I literally created an Excel spreadsheet, and all my different tabs are like timeline. And then I have a budget tab, and then I have a vendors tab, and then I have an attendees tab, and I have a to-do list tab. Like, yeah, so essential. And I know that's kind of common knowledge when you're planning something like this, but also for me, it's not. So I'm just saying that. Okay, that's all I have. There's a lot going on, but also literally nothing going on at the same time, if you feel me. My first wedding of the year is quickly approaching. I don't know if you guys have a wedding coming up, but one of my friends also has a wedding. The first weekend of March is my first wedding. And I'm just like, yeah, so how is that possible? I barely got a break. Like, that's crazy. I do have like a break in between that. I think my next wedding after that isn't until May or something, but like, so crazy. I simply cannot believe it. Okay. Today, I haven't even told you guys what we're talking about today. Wild. Who am I? Literally just like keep you guys on the edge of your seat. Today, we're talking about regrets that I have in my photo business. And it's going to be a mix of my photo business and my education business. And just like, honestly, things that I regret not doing earlier, things that I just regret doing, period. Have I done an episode like this before? I honestly have no idea. At this point, I've done so many episodes that I'm like, yeah, maybe I did do an episode like this, but I think my mindset now is so different from when I first started my podcast. It's actually so crazy how different I am from my first episode. I think I am just so much more comfortable talking to you guys. And I think, honestly, I think I'm just a better speaker, to be honest. I think just the whole like recording an episode every week for 2-3 years, I think that's really trained me and taught me, how to be more articulate, how to articulate better. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, anyway, regrets I have for my photo business. We're just going to go through, talk through some of these things. I literally jinxed myself. I literally said, oh, I'm way better at talking now. And here I am like fumbling over my words. I'm so sorry. Okay. So regrets I have for my photo business. We're just going to go through. If I think of other things, I'll mention them as we go. We're jumping into an ad real quick to talk about a longtime sponsor of the podcast. You guys know it. You love it. We're talking about Aftershoot. If you already don't know about Aftershoot, let me enlighten you because your world is about to be changed. Aftershoot is the fastest photo culling and editing app out there. The best thing about Aftershoot to me is how fast it makes my editing and culling workflow. Basically, what Aftershoot specializes in is automated AI editing, which is tailored to your unique artistic style. So not only can it cull through thousands of images so fast, it knows your editing style and it will edit your photos tailored to your style based on your preset and your editing. So when you open Aftershoot, you will start with culling, and it's going to cull your images quicker with AI assisted culling. Aftershoot can automatically cull your images by detecting unwanted photos, which saves you hours of your time. It'll group similar images, filter unwanted blinks, filter blurry photos. Then once you get done with culling, we head into Aftershoot edits. With only a few clicks, and I actually mean that, it's literally only like 2 or 3 clicks, Aftershoot will edit your photos just like you normally would in your own style. You can set up a personal AI profile in your style, so Aftershoot will know exactly how to edit. There's precision straightening and cropping tools that will automatically crop your photos for you. And if you're ever editing on like an airplane or something, Aftershoot is always available without the need for internet. And honestly, there's nothing worse than getting nickeled and dimed for a program like this, so Aftershoot offers unlimited images and sessions for one flat fee per month. So if you're like me and you edit thousands and thousands of photos at once, it doesn't matter how many photos you edit, you're always going to get charged the same price. And today for Shoot listeners, you can get 15% off for anyone who buys Aftershoot using the link in the description of this episode. Thank you so much, Aftershoot, for being a proud sponsor of the podcast. And now back to the show. And them as we go. So the first regret I have from starting my photography business, one of the big things, and I think this is probably my top regret. So my biggest regret from starting my photography business is not taking enough risks and of being afraid of the outcome of risks. This, for me, is the biggest regret I have in my photography business. The amount of things that have led me to huge success because I took a risk outweigh the times where I took a risk and it didn't pay out. And for me, that is worth it. Right? Like, obviously there have been times where I take a risk and it doesn't do amazing. It's not exactly how I planned, and that's okay. And I think at the beginning of my business, I was afraid to take risks. Tons of different examples of this, like in my editing style, in my shooting style, in my, like, I don't even know, like in my branding, in just like the different projects I was working on. I feel like I really put myself in a box at the beginning of my photography business of just shoot, edit, repeat. And that was it. And I wasn't ever actively pursuing creative projects or working on myself, taking a risk of, investing in education. Like, I was not doing any of that. And the minute I started to take risks and be like, you know what? I am going to go to this styled shoot. I am going to go to this workshop. I am going to start making education videos on TikTok. That's when I started to see the biggest reward, was when I started to try something new and take a risk. So that's a big regret I have, is not doing that sooner. When I first started, I was just in a box, like literally put myself in a box and couldn't see past the fear. Like, there is this wall of fear in front of me, and I couldn't see that if I just jumped over the wall, or if I just pushed the wall over, there was all of this success and more opportunity in front of me. But the thing that is blinding me so much is fear. And that kept me a really long time it kept me from doing the things that ultimately have led me to the most success. So number one, not taking risks. Another regret that I have from my photography business is taking trendy photos and basic photos just to fit in. When I first started photography, I would say my first 2 years, I was so focused on people I looked up to and styles that I looked up to that I didn't leave a room for myself in that process. So when I was taking photos, I was just trying to get my photos to look like everyone else's. I was trying to get the edit that everyone else had. Whereas now first of all, I know my Lightroom so much better that I can create exactly the look that I want. And I know my style a lot better. And I feel like creatively, I've taken the time to invest in myself. I've taken the time to just experiment creatively, where now I know what my style is. I know the creative looks I'm going for. I know how to create something that's unique and me. And I really regret not doing that sooner. There was almost like this, I guess it's like the same concept of like the box that I was putting myself in. And, sometimes I feel like I'm still putting myself in a box, if I'm being honest. But that's a whole nother topic. The whole concept of like, my edit has to look like this person I really look up to. And to be honest, to like name names, the person that I looked up to for like editing so much was Dawn Charles. And still, honestly, her edits are still amazing, obviously. But I was so focused on like that, like Dawn Charles, India Earl. I cared so much about how their work looked, and I loved it so much that I was like, I want my stuff to look like that. So I'm like trying to do what they say and like listen to how they shoot and like buy their presets and all that I like got lost in it all. Where like, yeah, presets are good tools to help you, but you still want to make sure you have space for your creativity in the midst of all that. And I wish that was something I could have seen sooner. I think it would have set me on a trajectory to get to where I am now faster. We all have to learn things, right? Okay. Regret number 3 that I have, not offering outfit advice to my clients. So the reason I say this is because I feel like when I was building my portfolio, and even like a couple years into it, I would sometimes show up to a shoot and the outfits would just not really be the vibe of like what I was looking for in my portfolio. And I felt like, not that it was a waste of a session, because obviously that person paid me, like these are their photos. But as far as my portfolio goes, it felt like a little bit of a waste, because it's like, this doesn't match the style that I'm going for. And so I feel like I can't like really use the photos to the full extent. And I think a big thing with that was outfits. And I think the big gap in in the whole process of what the client wears versus like booking the session, I think the gap was me, my lack of communication and not like clearly telling people, just some of those expectations. And honestly, like as a photographer, sometimes there's nothing you can do to change the outfit. Sometimes your client wants what they want, and that's fine. I'm here to say that that's okay too. But I think if you are just offering the inspo pics, if you're offering some guidelines, some do's and don'ts, if you're just helping them out a little bit, that really does help build your portfolio. And I do think that's something I regret, is not offering that advice sooner. And just kind of letting my clients wear whatever the heck they wanted, and then being like, why doesn't this like match the vibe that I'm going for? It's because I wasn't offering the advice that would help get me there. Right. So that's another thing I seriously regret. Another regret that I have, this is a little random, is paying for the knot for 3 years in a row. Not specifically my first 2 years, but I would say my 3rd year, I definitely regret that. I was at a point 3 years into it, and I'm going to say this with like 70% certainty, that paying for the knot 3 years in a row, like you don't need that 3rd year, because by that point you should already have a system of like word of mouth and Instagram marketing and like other means of marketing taking off and helping you book way more. The goal with the knot, in my opinion, is to kind of kickstart you. But once you're there, like you don't need it anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like once you're there, you don't need to keep using the knot to find clients, because you have other ways that you're finding clients. So it's kind of like a great way to start. You pay for it, you find clients, and the clients just come to you. But as that happens, you're also building your Instagram and building word of mouth and other things. So eventually you can stop paying for it, right? So that's kind of one of my regrets. I remember that 3rd year, I literally booked like 1 or 2 weddings, and I was like, cool. So I don't need this anymore. And it sucks because you already paid for it. And it's like, I had to learn this the hard way by just, realizing that I don't need it anymore, but I already paid for my year. So yeah, that's one of my regrets. I also regret not starting a blog sooner on my website, specifically talking about blogs that are helping with my SEO, because obviously I was blogging like my work. Every single session I was making a blog, but I regret not having SEO focused blogs sooner. And the main part of that I think a lot of you guys know this, but I have like a blog person that I've hired. And they do a lot of blogging for me that helps with my SEO. And I think blogging in general is just such a good way to get clients outside of Instagram, outside of TikTok, outside of, whatever. It's just another means of finding your clients. So yeah, I think the sooner you start blogging, the better it's going to help. Like, it's always better to start sooner with blogging, because that's how like Google and SEO works, is they reward you for like that long game. And like the longer something's up, the better. And like the more blogs you have, the better. So yeah, definitely something that I regret. And if you're listening, I definitely would say start a blog as soon as you can. Maybe I'll do an episode on what to blog. That might be interesting. Maybe I can even ask my blog girl if she'll be willing to come on an episode. Because I think blogging is one of those things where it's really intimidating, but I think if you know what you need to say and what you need to blog, it's really easy, honestly. It's kind of just like getting that template set up of like, okay, what the heck am I doing? And then once you have that template, you can kind of fill in the blanks as you go. Okay. Another regret that I have in my photography business is being afraid to jump into social media. I'm not joking, you guys, the minute I started showing my face and, making videos with my face in it, talking, like, that's when I started to see such an exponential growth in my business, not just like in my numbers on Instagram and stuff, but quite literally in bookings as well. So jump into social media, like fully embrace it. I don't think there's ever going to be a negative thing that comes of that. Seriously. Maybe at first it sucks because you're not getting a ton of engagement, but like I was at that point for a while where it was like the engagement's not quite there, like kind of sucks, but you just have to jump into it and keep going with it and be consistent. And I think a big thing for me was like being afraid to jump into social media. That was something that I really regretted, was like that fear, because when you think about it, it's just so silly. Like social media is not something you have to be afraid of at all. Like it's just so harmless and stupid sometimes. Like it's literally invisible. If you think about it, like social media is actually invisible. So that's a crazy thought. I can't keep talking about that because that's gonna that messes with my brain. Other things I regret. Not prioritizing making friends early on. I don't know if I've talked about this really, but I feel like I can be a very lone wolf sometimes. It's hard. Like I'm not the type of person to seek out relationships on my own. I know a lot of people that do that are really good at seeking out photographer relationships, at finding community. That's like not me. And I wish it was, but it's not. And so when I kind of first was getting into photography, even like I would say my first 3 years of my business, I felt like I was not really prioritizing like the friendships and stuff. It kind of was like all business for me, but that's something I really wish I would have done sooner. Cause now I have such an amazing group of photographer friends. They're not all like friends with each other, but like I have a group, I would say at least 10 photographers where I'm like, you are my friend. I can go to you with what's going on and like, you get it, you know? So I think it's so important. And if I would have prioritized it sooner, I think I would have just had better insight into what I'm doing, and I could have run some ideas by some people, and I could have not made as many mistakes, because I think a lot of the times when you have those photographer friends, you're able to know what to do and what not to do based on people's experiences. And I think just having friends is so important. Like it's like the concept of having coworkers. I know a lot of people view like other photographers as competition, which I guess technically they are, but I like to think of it more as like a coworker situation where like there is enough work to go around where everyone has enough work to do. Like you're just basically there for like the workplace vibes. You're there just to make sure that you all survive the workplace. So prioritizing making friends for sure. Another regret I have is not putting myself out there. I guess when I was writing this, I don't really know what I mean by that. Not putting myself out there. I don't know exactly what that means, but like, you know what? I'm just going to skip over that. Take that, interpret that how you will. Another regret I have is cheaping out on my branding. Oh boy, is this a regret for sure. When I first started, if I would have had cute fonts, cute logos, cute website design, I think I would have booked probably twice as many bookings as I had. But because I was just starting out, I feel like I didn't understand the importance of like a good website, just overall a brand and overall having this vibe. I didn't get it. So that's something that I wish so badly I could go back and tell myself it is going to be worth it to invest in this because it is so important for sure. Like I said, I think it helps you get bookings for sure. I think it helps you just establish your brand and figure out like, what is my vibe? Like, what is it that I'm bringing to the table right now? I think cheaping out my branding, it just like, you could tell for sure. Like I was using like a Squarespace website. I made my logo in Canva and it sucked. Like I didn't have any fonts. I didn't have any colors. It was black and white. Like it was just, not really my vibe. And I do feel like once I invested in that, I got like a complete 360 and like, or 180, whatever. It just completely flipped the script for me. Okay. Other things that I regret. I have 3 more. Waiting to get a client management software. This is a big regret I have. For the first year and a half, I had like 20 weddings booked and I was managing it all on Google Docs. And if someone booked a date, I would write the date down. And then if I would write whether or not they paid or not, and then I would write down like their email and like their venue. And like, that was it. And like I don't even remember how I had them pay. Maybe it was through QuickBooks. No, honestly, I don't remember how they paid me. I think it was either like check or whatever. And I really regret not having that sooner because I just think there's something about that experience of like easy payment, easy contract signing, like easy communication. And for me, like keeping it all in one place. I think I could have avoided a lot of hiccups if I would have just like had client management software sooner. And like the softwares were always available to me. Like I heard people talk about them, but I just never used them. I just didn't think I needed them. And once you start using a client management software, you realize that like it is so much better. Like this is one of the situations where the grass is actually greener on the other side, you know? So examples of client management softwares, if you're not familiar, Honeybook, Dubsado, whatever. Oh my gosh, I never talked about this. Oh, I'm going to talk about it real quick. One of Honeybook's like upcoming competitors, I guess, used one of my videos talking about Honeybook as like an ad without my permission. And it was wild. Like literally so insane. Like I got sent it by a bunch of people and it was like a clip of me from my podcast and they used that as like their marketing. And I was like, what is this? Like that's definitely not allowed. Definitely did not sign off on that for sure. So I like DM'd them and whatever, like I was commenting and like my friends were commenting and they were like deleting the comments and like it was this whole thing. They ended up taking the ad down, but like it just left such a bad first impression on me. Cause I'm like, you're already a new software. Like no one really knows about you and you're going to go and steal people's videos to use as marketing. That's not a great start in my book. So yeah, let's talk about that real quick. That was so wild. Okay. 2 other things that I regret not doing. One is starting a retirement fund. I wish I would have done this sooner. I don't regret starting my retirement fund. I regret taking so long to start a retirement fund. This is also something that I had no idea how to do. Honestly, I don't personally know how to do it, but I know that I have it set up and I have a financial advisor who set it up for me. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's easy. Finding a financial advisor is easy. Setting up a retirement fund is easy. And all it is like monthly contributions. And what it does is it takes money off of your taxes. So your taxable income, let's say you make $100,000 in a year. If you contribute, there's always like a maximum for how much you contribute, but let's say you contribute like $7,000. That means your taxable income then becomes $93,000. I think. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But it's just a great thing to have. And I wish I would have done it sooner because my taxes would have been way lower and all that. So definitely a nice thing to start sooner. And honestly, just like the peace of mind, like as you're laying in bed at night, falling asleep, having a million different anxieties fly across your brain all at once, a retirement fund is not one of those things anymore because you've set it up, you've started to contribute. It just helps me sleep better at night, you know, knowing that if the world flipped upside down tomorrow, if I didn't have a steady income, a job, whatever, like I do have this fund that I've been saving for, you know, like once I turn whatever age, like it is going to be worth it. So definitely something that I regret not doing sooner. Last regret I have is cheaping out on my lenses. And I know there are people who say lenses aren't everything, like gear isn't everything. I agree. I do. But I think a lens is such a good tool to help you get the photos you want. And if you don't have the right tool, sometimes you can't get the right result. And that's what I was facing in my photography career, was not having the right tool and it sucking that I couldn't get the result I wanted. And I couldn't figure out why. And it was just awful. A big reason was my lenses. You know, you have to start somewhere. So I did. But I think once I learned what I needed, I kind of cheaped out on those things. Like I was like, oh, I need I forget what it was, like a 24-70 or something. But instead of like actually getting a 24-70, like a Sony 24-70, I was getting like this cheap version of it. And like, it just made it just didn't perform well. Like the lens wasn't great, whatever. And it was like a knockoff. And it was annoying because it was like, if I would have just done the right thing and invested my money right the first time, I would have the result that I wanted. But instead I cheaped out and now I'm having focus issues. Now the outsides of my photos are blurry and it's like so annoying. Or now my focus tracking isn't great because this lens doesn't track focus well. Like all these different things. So yeah, I definitely think cheaping out on my lenses is something I don't regret. Something I do regret. Now, the 28-70 that I got, the F2, like literally so game changing. This was one of the investments that I'm like so glad I made. Like it is incredible that it just kind of shows me like why I shouldn't have cheaped out from the beginning. And you know, there's budget and things like that, but I definitely wish I would have trusted my gut a little bit more in my business and actually got the lenses that I thought were going to help me instead of trying to find a cheap alternative. Okay. I think that's all I have to say today. Thank you guys so much for listening and being here. I'm excited for some future episodes and yeah, we will see you next week for another episode. Have an amazing rest of your day.